Welcome to Economic Deep Dive, where we break down the world's biggest financial events and the hidden economic truths shaping our future. In today's video, we explore 3 obscure assets billionaires are quietly buying. And no, it's not gold, it's not Bitcoin, and it's not anything you normally hear in mainstream finance. These assets are rarely discussed, deliberately underhyped, and quietly accumulated by people who understand how the global system works behind the scenes. What you're about to hear is not financial advice. It's a full-scale economic investigation into what the ultra-wealthy know that most of the world does in. Get ready for a clear, powerful, and engaging deep dive that reveals how global markets, money systems, and real-world events truly connect. Stay till the end to understand the full story. To understand why billionaires buy obscure assets, you must first understand something. Ultra-wealthy people don't think like the rest of us. They don't look at money as something you save. They look at it as something you convert. Money itself is weak. It inflates. It loses value. It's controlled by governments, and it can be frozen, taxed, or redirected. But assets, if chosen correctly, are outside the system, outside the inflation trap, and outside the political battles that destroy currencies over time. That's why every major billionaire in the last 100 years got rich not by holding money, but by holding things money flows into during crises. The first obscure asset billionaires are buying is agricultural water rights. It's not farmland, but the legal right to use, divert, or control water in agricultural zones. Most people have no idea that water is already more valuable than oil in certain regions. In the American Southwest, a single senior water right can be worth millions. In Australia, water rights have become a tradable financial instrument. And in parts of South America, entire valleys shift in value based on a single river's legal ownership. Billionaires love water rights because water is the one resource humanity cannot replace, cannot manufacture, and cannot negotiate with. When food inflation rises, when droughts hit, when supply chains weaken, it's not farmland that matters most. It's the water feeding it. A barren desert with water rights is more valuable than fertile land with none. That is why billionaires quietly buy up water sources, underground aquifers, and long-term diversion rights. They're not thinking about next year. They're thinking about the next 50. When the global population climbs to 10 billion and climate change intensifies drought cycles, water will not just be an asset, will be the new oil. You may not hear about this on the news, but the ultra-rich have been playing this game for more than a decade. The second obscure asset billionaires are buying is data infrastructure specifically. Physical data storage, fiber optic corridors, and land under data centers. We live in a world where everyone talks about AI, automation, crypto, and cloud computing. But no one talks about the physical backbone that makes all of that possible. Every digital asset, every cloud service, every AI model, every financial transaction, every online identity, all of it sits on hardware, servers, cables, cooling systems, and land. Billionaires don't invest in futurism. They invest in the infrastructure that futurism depends on. While the average person buys tech stocks, the ultra-wealthy buy the land under the servers, the fiber routes under entire cities, and the cooling water pipelines that AI data centers desperately need. This is where real power lies. Data is the new currency. Whoever owns the infrastructure owns the digital world. And billionaires know something most people don't. Digital expansion has no reverse gear. Society will never go back to offline life. Every year more data is generated, and every AI model needs exponentially more computing power. That means the demand for physical data infrastructure will only rise. But here's the twist. Governments can regulate companies, but it is extremely difficult for them to seize or control private underground fiber corridors, cooling infrastructure, or private server compounds. These are the digital fortresses of the future. Quietly, behind the scenes, billionaires are buying up the skeleton of the digital age. The third obscure asset billionaires are buying is natural longevity resources, land with rare minerals. It's untouched forests, medicinal plants, and biodiversity assets linked to future biotechnology. The average person hears the word longevity and thinks of supplements or gym routines. Billionaires think of something entirely different. Genetic resources. Big money flows into anything that extends human life, improves cellular repair, or slows aging. And the materials for those breakthroughs come from nature. Some of the world's most powerful pharmaceutical compounds come from plants that exist in only one valley on Earth. Others come from rare fungi, ocean bacteria, or minerals formed in volcanic rock. This is why certain billionaires are buying remote forests in South America, volcanic land in Iceland, seabed leases rich in bioactive minerals, private islands with untouched ecosystems. They are not buying them to build resorts. They're buying them because the next trillion-dollar industry is anti-aging biotechnology. And whoever controls the raw materials controls the science. Imagine owning the only known region where a future cancer-curing plant grows. Imagine being the sole private owner of a mineral required for gene repair therapies. This isn't fantasy, it's already happening. While most investors chase short-term stock pumps, billionaires are positioning themselves to own the biological foundation of future medicine. These three obscure assets share one thing in common. They are uncorrelated with traditional financial markets. Water rights don't crash when tech stocks fall. Data infrastructure doesn't drop when real estate slows. Biodiversity assets don't care about the Federal Reserve. Billionaires aren't buying hype, they're buying power, stability, and future necessity. And here's the deeper truth. These assets are hard to access, not because they're expensive, but because they require knowledge, connections, legal expertise, and long-term thinking. Anyone can buy gold. Anyone can buy crypto. But not everyone can buy the river rights that feed an entire agricultural district. Not everyone can buy the cooling corridor that powers a city's AI servers. Not everyone can buy land containing a plant that may one day extend human life by 10 years. Billionaires invest where competition is low, where regulation is weak, and where future value is hidden. That's why these assets stay obscure. They remain quiet because the people buying them want it that way. And here's the final point. Wealth is not about predicting the future. It's about positioning for the future. Billionaires understand that society moves in cycles. Political cycles, climate cycles, monetary cycles, technological cycles. And in every cycle, certain assets become priceless, while others collapse. For most people, wealth is about income. For ultra-wealthy people, wealth is about control of resources, control of infrastructure, and control of the scientific frontier. Water rights are control. Data infrastructure is control. Longevity resources are control. These are not investments. These are long-term bets on human behavior. No matter what happens to the world war, inflation, digital transformation, climate change, people will need water, data, and medicine. These are the foundations of civilization. This is why billionaires buy what the world will always need, not what the world currently likes. By the time you finish this video, one thing should be clear. The richest people in the world do not wait for opportunities, they create them. They do not chase the market, they own the assets the market depends on. And they do not diversify to reduce risk, they diversify to increase control. If you want to understand wealth, don't watch what billionaires say. Watch what they quietly buy. Because hidden inside those quiet purchases is the blueprint of the future. Stay tuned, stay curious, and as always, thanks for watching Economic Deep Dive.